Hey, hey, hey. Time for another Out of This World story from our space. It's no use waiting until we're blue in the face for people to change. It's best to move on and put that energy elsewhere. Today on our space, we're the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. Up first, walking away is difficult, but it's necessary. Wife had an affair and we're getting a divorce. I've, 29 male, been with my wife, 29 female, for 15 years and married for 4. A few months ago, I started a new job which left me stressed and busy along with periodic business trips. After some suspicion, I finally caught her and she came clean about sleeping with another man, but I believe they've been engaging in an affair for months. We've quickly decided to divorce and move on. I'm struggling with the thought of being without her and the fact that she's so much happier with someone else. I found pictures of them together which I regret seeing. Where do I go from here? How do I pick up the pieces of my shattered life? Edit. Thank you all for your kind words. This pain is fresh and I'm trying my best to reach out to everyone. I need to go get my things after I get home this evening, which will be incredibly difficult, along with saying goodbye to my dog. Edit 2. This is incredibly difficult to walk away from everything. I'm incredibly close to her family and I'm struggling to pull the trigger. Edit 3. She has no desire to reconcile and at this point, nor do I. I've decided to take the dog with me and move on. We've been replaced in her life in a matter of days. I married a monster. Edit 4. I'm officially moved out and into my brother's place in another city. I feel extremely hopeful for my future, but I can't help but reminisce on all my good memories of us. My dog is taking this as hard as I am, but having lots of family around has been extremely valuable to us both. I'm learning to reach out to people for once in my life and not rely on one person or try to deal with it alone. Sharing my story online was never something I'd ever had considered in the past, and it's the best decision I've made so far. All the words here are reassuring and helping me deal with this incredible pain and suffering, one day at a time. The community has some additional thoughts. ICIC says, "You are an absolute champion. Found out and done. No games. Time will heal and then you will prosper." Knights N2 chimes in, "Just keep in mind limerence is very real. That new shiny toy effect will wear off once they begin to process the relationship and she isn't using you both to get what she wants. Even if they appear happy, just wait a while and deep down the jealousy. Meanwhile, focus on yourself and becoming a better man. Learn from these events and become smarter and more knowledgeable. Take the good and try to let the bad go or heal it over time. When you find the right someone who does share your values for real instead of lie, it will be even better than with the fake person you had." Cavefish adds, "You're so young. You have..." Endings like this are never easy, but it's no good yearning to be with someone who A, doesn't want to be with you, B, proves that by cheating on you. I'm glad you took the dog. I totally think writing about it helped you through. You're a brave man. It's okay to reminisce, but please don't forget about what she did to you. You're absolutely right. You did marry a monster. And someone who loves you would never entertain the thought of cheating on you or your dog. Update. Wow, what a week. I can't thank the people of this community enough. I received an incredible amount of support and reassurance over the last week, and I'm thankful I had the courage to post here. This was the best decision I made in the first few hours of the bomb dropping. I have worked out rough details of the divorce with my soon-to-be ex-wife, and she's continuing to try and manipulate and be a victim in all of this. Thanks to the support of everyone in my life, including her sister and brother, I've been able to see past her behavior. I still have to work through not trying to care for her because that's all I've done for 15 years, but I can't help but be disgusting and ashamed of her. She will never be in my life again. I realized the things she wanted me to improve on in our marriage were caused by her. I wasn't happy with her and was afraid to admit that to myself, and I'm better off without her. I deserve so much more, and I'm not settling for anything but what I deserve. I'm incredibly optimistic for the future. I'm back in my hometown, connecting with my family and friends again, dreaming of a new future for me and my pup. I'm hitting the gym this week, meeting multiple friends I haven't talked to in years, and I hope to return to work after this. She didn't destroy my life. She gave me a new one, and I'm going to make the best of it. Endless Zenga adds to this, "She didn't destroy my life. She gave me a new one, and I'm going to make the best of it." So true. Make the best of newfound life. Don't ever settle for anything less than you deserve. All the best. Second Circle 43 adds, "I'm glad to hear you ditched her. Home is a place that a spouse should look forward to coming back to, not a gaslighting battlefield." Excellent, OP. You don't owe her anything. She kicked you in the balls. It's great to see you on top of the world like this. It's also nice to hear that your ex's brother and sister were so supportive of you. Life isn't over after infidelity or divorce. It's tough as hell, but we can crawl out of hell on our bellies. The best is yet to come, OP. Have you experienced infidelity? How did you crawl out of it? Share your stories below. Up next, sometimes we have to squint to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I just found out he betrayed me after I tried to give him everything, and I don't know what to do. Success story. My 24 female, now ex-fiance, 24 male, and I had been together for 3 years. Things weren't perfect, but we were happy and we were using the long engagement as a way to grow to be ready to be married. He is in a retail job working part-time while I'm working in a career I love full-time. He's not happy with his current job, but I was supporting him with whatever decisions he made and gave him advice however I could. I felt like his mom at times as I tried to help him mature and learn to take care of himself, and he had come a long way. I had even made a plan for us to have his $30,000 in student loan debt paid off by 2026. I don't have any debt. Yesterday, he had a day off while I was working from home, and I noticed him feeling distant. Turned out, he sent a video of himself masturbating to a rando on Omegle, who then blackmailed him for $1,000, which he wouldn't have even saved up if it wasn't for my budgeting skills. He didn't tell me, but I found out when I demanded his phone to see what was going on. I feel so effing stupid because back in 2018, he had been sending nudes and chatting up other girls, but I gave him another chance as he explained it as a failing of his maturity. He keeps talking about how he's going to get into therapy and work on himself so we can try again, and it hurts because I so desperately want him. Even though he wasn't where I am with his career, he was the first person to take care of me emotionally, and we were so compatible. I felt I could just be myself with him. We've built up a life together where we are living 1,000 miles away from home, living together with our 3 pets. Now I have next to no support system and I feel completely broken. I want to just take him back and take this as a sign that there are things we need to work on together. However, I told my mother what happened knowing that would nuke pretty much any chance we had of getting together, as she loathes cheaters. I just don't know where to go from here. The light I had seen at the end of the tunnel is completely gone, and I feel I will never find love as I do not deserve it. I struggle with depression and anxiety. I have extreme low self-worth, but he was my rock, and now I just feel like I'm drowning. Our first reaction from the community comes from groundbreaking Bet 281. It's not a failing of his maturity. It's a failing of respect. Even 8-year-olds know the difference between right and wrong, so it was a choice he made because he didn't think he would be caught. And then he did it again. And then he, like a moron, paid them $1,000 as blackmail. What was his plans the next time they blackmailed him? This man is going to ruin you. You're too young to stay with this. And he might have been the first person to support you emotionally, but that doesn't mean he's the only one that ever will. Let's be real. It's not our jobs to baby our partners. I'm thinking since he wasn't happy with himself, he turned to infidelity looking to stroke his ego. This isn't an excuse at all. Clearly he never matured even after the first incident. Shocker. Not. Please do not consider taking him back because if he didn't change the first time, things aren't going to miraculously change now. The light at the end of the tunnel isn't gone. You just have to keep walking through the darkness a bit. Update. Over a year past D-Day and I have completely turned my life around. Update. Over a year ago, I posted on here when my then fiance of 3 years cheated on me and I was completely heartbroken. I had decided to let that event be the catalyst of me completely changing my life. Unfortunately, I couldn't kick him out of the townhouse we lived in together because we were both on the lease, so I had to continue living with him for 11 months. But I'm glad he got to see firsthand how much better off I was without him. Shortly after the breakup, I decided to try some dating apps to help boost my self-esteem. Having 100 plus likes and dozens of messages certainly helped with that. Of course, I was upfront to everyone I talked to that I wasn't ready for a relationship because of the event, and they were all super understanding and willing to help me have some fun. Through that, I actually met my current boyfriend, who was more than willing to wait however long it took for me to be ready because he knew I was special. I have never had anyone been so sweet and kind to me as he has been. He brought me flowers the day after our first date, frequently cooks me dinner, compliments me, and I am the happiest relationship-wise that I have ever been. A few months after D-Day, I got a new job making 1.5 times what I had before, and it is completely remote, giving me free range to decide where I wanted to live once the lease was up. I decided to move an hour south to be closer to my sister and closer to my new boyfriend's family. I originally planned to find a new house to rent, but realized it would actually be more cost-effective to buy my own house, so at 25, I became a homeowner all by myself. Meanwhile, my ex waited until a month before the lease was up to try to find somewhere to live when I turned down his request to continue living with me. He met a girl, and a few weeks later moved in with her, and a few months later, they are engaged, so he hasn't really learned his lesson yet about being a leech. He tried to take one of the cats with him and my dog's ashes, but I shot that down and have all my fur babies with me. But I am the happiest I have ever been in my entire life and just wanted to share. The community responds, Live Maze 6410 says, "Way to go. Love success stories." Rad to the Bone 22 adds, "Haha, he tried to get you to continue living with him? Then he moved in with the first girl he dated and proposed to her within a couple of months? Wow, did you dodge a troubled individual." I'm so glad to hear you are a homeowner. That is a very big deal. Congrats. I'm also very glad that you have your fur babies. They are the best. Best of luck with your new relationship, and thank you for sharing your story of resilience. Amazing, OP. Congratulations on becoming a homeowner at such a young age. And you did that all by yourself. It's even better that he got to see all of this happen while he was still living with you. What an absolute leech. I don't think he'll ever learn. He just moved on to the next poor sucker. I'm glad you didn't take him back. You ended up seeing the light, and it was a beautiful thing. Go live a beautiful life. Do you have a similar story? Share your success story below. And lastly, life's too short to be waiting around. How long did it take for you to realize they would never change? It's taken me 4 months to realize that no matter what it is, big or small, he won't ever stop lying to me. Whether he's lying about caring or anything to do with our relationship, or literally the smallest thing like a household chore, he just doesn't stop lying for self-preservation. The community has some thoughts. Counting Days 0815 kicks us off. Well, I'm 7 months in and my wife sent me an email. How are we doing? How are the kids? How the company and employees are, etc. I just messaged back, as long as you can't be honest, I don't need any contact to you. I've told you if you want to talk, I'll listen, but all what remains is work for lawyers. Liars stay liars. I've heard so much crap now, I'm just sick of it. Veronica Sawyer's Red Dead says, when I caught him having an affair in our home with our 11-year-old daughter's best friend's mother, who was my friend and also a neighbor. And it was a relief, it was over. I'd done the best I could to keep the family together. I booted him out of the house. I was set free from the tethering of a one-sided commitment. He was set free to be who he truly is. I didn't have to live with his betrayal anymore and what he's done over all these years. I didn't have to worry that he wasn't cheating on me anymore and finally got to rest peacefully at night. I didn't have to walk on eggshells anymore, worried that any sort of perceived infraction on my part would result in punitive betrayal by him. I didn't have to pretend anymore that we were a functional family unit, nor that I was in a healthy marriage to people who didn't know the reality of the situation. I didn't have to wake up every morning and take my daily dose of reconciliation that was poisoning my spirit. I knew for sure that I'd never ever be tempted to take him back or be susceptible to his love bombing. I knew he'd crossed into the point of no return, that it was over, my life was now my own, that it wasn't my fault the marriage couldn't be mended, and that he was exactly who I was afraid he was, and worse to me than I could imagine anyone ever being after I tried to love them wholeheartedly, forgiven with earnest and with my best intentions, and that I owed him absolutely nothing of myself anymore. Breaking Barriers adds too, this is a primary reason why I recently broke up with my fiancée, along with lack of accountability. I'm not sure if the lack of accepting fault and apologizing was because she didn't care or if it was because she felt tremendous guilt internally already, and by accepting fault, it would just make her feelings much worse. I never really needed the apology for my sake. I just wanted to know she understood what she did was wrong, why it's wrong, and how to fix it. I needed to see that there was meaning behind every love. Her lack of showing such emotion drove me away, and I became resentful of the fact that it felt like I was the only one moving the relationship forward. No One You Need to Know 12 adds this. I think it was about a year in. I'd already made him move out. We still have a family relationship, but he would prefer that we return to our marriage. He has changed in a lot of ways. There is almost no abusive behavior toward me or our kids now. He doesn't belittle me anymore. He is more helpful in household chores when he's over. He even cooks dinner. I could probably count on one hand the amount of times he's cooked in our 16-year marriage up to discovery. There are things that won't change though. Some of them I don't think are necessarily his fault though. It doesn't mean I have to like it. He has this tendency to use the word nice when telling me how I look. Or it's a word he uses constantly with me. I hate it. I can go through all of this trouble to doll myself up and I get, "You look nice." Thanks. He also doesn't really get involved with the kids. I know almost everything going on with them. Instead of talking to them, he asks me. I can't figure out for the life of me why I have to be the go-between. I do all of the emotional labor with our kids. 2 have ASD and all 3 have ADHD. 2 of them have various learning disabilities while 1 has significant enough needs that require a specialized program. He has no interest in participating in any of that. For years, he fought me on our kids' diagnosis because he claimed I was projecting my profession, special needs educator, onto our kids. Nope, all of them formally diagnosed by a licensed and reputable psychologist. I'm supporting the kids fully on my own. He will throw me a few bucks here and there, but if he needs to do something, that's where his money goes. He contributed nothing to our eldest's uni fees, or fees for our other 2 kids, or their specialized treatment, or anything really. He's really great at giving them presents, though. Okay, that turned into a rant. I think I'm approaching the end of the line in this weird arrangement we have going on. I think it's about time to call it quits. Thanks for reading if you did. That helped. It takes as long as it does to start loving yourself. As soon as you start to show yourself love and respect, you really see things for what they are. People rarely change. It's like watching the sky for a shooting star. Instead of spending all that time and energy into waiting around for people to change or mature, put that energy into yourself. Put yourself first. We'll die from old age before the people who hurt us change and learn to grow from their mistakes. We might as well flourish in that time. What are your thoughts? And thank you for joining us today on Our Space. Like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. We'd hate for you to miss it. If you want to listen to more stories from me, check out Our Lounge, where I feature a larger variety of non-cheating related stories. See you there. See you there. See you there.